Preseason game 3 is winding down, and just when I thought I was going to spend another show complaining about Jake Moody, somebody else did something that's actually worthy of our attention. What is good, everybody? Welcome to the Gold Standard Instant Reaction Show, part of the Pro Football Insiders. I'm Rob Stats Guerrero alongside Levin Black. Levin, we are just, 90 seconds away from a merciful end to the preseason.
Yeah, two things. One, this show is pretty much guaranteed to be more entertaining than that game. Two, new rule for third preseason games: referees cannot call penalties in the second half because this game has been delayed its end by half an hour because these refs want to call penalties that aren't penalties.
It is just a slog to get through the end of this game. I was saying every third week of the preseason they should have running clock, just right from the go. Bam, never stop the clock. We'll get in and out in about an hour, and we'll all get back to our real life here. Now, I started the tease by saying I thought this was going to be another Jake Moody show, which we'll get to him in a minute. But to me, Levin, this is the Nick Martin game. He had a rough first game of the preseason. He looked better against the Broncos. And tonight, he's all over the place for the 49ers. Got a little banged up at one point, stayed in the game. He's got 8 tackles, 6 solo tackles, a pass defended, and a tackle for loss.
There's a couple, I think, key indicators based upon when people played. Nick Martin, I think, outplayed his how he was utilized in this game, because guess what? Players playing at the end of the third preseason game are not very high in the rankings of a depth chart. So I think he's going to move up that depth chart based on this game. But that's what I was thinking when I saw him still out there in the fourth quarter. I was like, ooh, that's not good. That means he's not the third linebacker, and he's probably not the fourth linebacker either. But then he played the way he did. I mean, he's dominated the fourth quarter, so it's clear that he probably deserves to be moved up there. But there's some other indicators there, like Ji'Ayir Brown not starting.
Yeah.
He was still playing at the end of the second half. Not only that, but he was playing in every single special teams unit. That tells me they're looking at him as, you're not the starter, you better be good enough on special teams.
I don't know that Ji'Ayir Brown has a future on this team, to be honest. Like, this may be the last 49ers game he plays.
Yeah, I think he was one of the ones that had a chance to be a starter coming in to training camp, and he has fallen as far as anybody has fallen on this team. It just seems like, to me, I guess I'm not going to say that. I was going to say it seems like he kind of doesn't want to be there. It's like there's a switch that got turned off at some point on him from what we saw as a rookie to now, and it's like he's not going full speed anymore.
I don't know what it is. I know there was a touchdown pass tonight that kind of looked like it was his fault, but then I was reading that it was actually more Marquise Siegel that sort of got crossed up, and Ji'Ayir Brown was trying to come over and make up for it, essentially. I'm not smart enough to say whose fault it is. I am smart enough to know that he hasn't had a good camp or a good preseason, and like you said, the fact that he has been all over the field tonight in preseason game number 3 is not a good sign. Shout out to Grizz in the comments. You're right. I forgot to mention Nick Martin also had a forced fumble tonight, getting his hat on a football that I think Evan Anderson ultimately recovered. So, yeah, Nick Martin's stock incredibly high. Ji'Ayir Brown's stock dropping quite quickly.
Yeah, I wouldn't be well, they would have done it if they could have already, I guess. I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets traded for like a 7th round pick, but they would have done that prior to this game if there was any market whatsoever for him out there. I think they cut him, and then I do think that he's somebody that they would probably try to get back onto the practice squad, because they would probably still think there's some potential there, but he's just not good enough to worry about dropping, and if he goes somewhere else, he goes somewhere else.
I agree, and I also, like, with the safety situation, they don't like Ji'Ayir Brown, but if they could keep him around just because he's familiar with the system, given what's going on at safety right now, I think that they'd probably do it. We'll ultimately see. But, yeah, not great for him, unfortunately, because at one point I was really kind of high on Ji'Ayir Brown, but things have happened since then. So we must change our opinion when things happen. Brett Davis, YouTube channel member, shout out to Brett and all our YouTube channel members. Thank you for the support. Says Martin had the preseason you want from a rookie. First game rough with flashes. Second game shows improvement. Third game shows improvement. We're not a flash in the pan. I agree. It's not about any one performance. It is about the preseason as a whole. And so you like that he's trending in the right direction. And you know, he was banged up last year in college too. So maybe he had some rust a little bit that he's sort of shaking off at this point. But at least you can see the vision, right? You look at him, the way he runs, the way he chases things down, the physicality with which he tackles, and you're like, all right, I get why they picked him. Whereas when he was drafted, everybody in the world was like, what the hell are they thinking? Well, now we kind of can see a little bit of what they were thinking.
I mean, the thing that you want to see out of rookies that play significantly in the preseason, I think first round picks are a little different because you're not really looking for them to progress in the preseason because they're not going to probably play a whole lot in games 2 and especially games 3 if they're a first round pick. But you get outside of the first round and especially 3rd, 4th, 5th, get later in the draft, what you want to see out of your rookies is, are they progressing in the preseason? Are things slowing down? Are they recognizing things that they didn't recognize in the first go?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're seeing that with him. Like, he is still flashing his athletic ability, but I think in the first preseason game, it was hard to flash that athletic ability because he was so slow on the take in terms of recognizing what was happening.
Yep.
And now it seemed like he had learned, just start going and react as you're moving because your athleticism is your biggest strength.
He is lightning fast, man. It is, when he goes, it is fast. Christian Geiger says Nick Martin plays just like Azeez did in this defense. Azeez Al-Shire hits hard, has elite speed and great coverage skills, isn't scared to put his body on the line. Just pray he stays healthy. Yeah, he went down and he grabbed the back of his leg, and I was like, oh no. But he was back in the next series, making plays, making tackles. So look, we won't really know until essentially the day after the game. Even now, after the game, Kyle Shanahan's doesn't know anything about injuries, and guys wake up with injuries that apparently they didn't know they had, like Jordan Watkins. So it's going to be a minute before we know what the toll is from this game. But hopefully Nick Martin is okay ultimately, because super encouraging so far. Good. We need all the good linebackers we can get, and everybody from this rookie class that can contribute, we need.
Yeah, the team does not have very much depth in quite a few key areas. The offensive line, once again, like every single backup, if you want to move on from them, go for it, because what you have is not going to be capable of getting the job done if they're called upon. So you might as well kick the tire on somebody that's available out there. Like, I don't care if they move on from any of these backup offensive linemen. They are that bad. It is an average starting offensive line and maybe the worst backup offensive line in the league. It's horrendously bad. And there's a couple other places where they lack depth, but one place they don't lack depth, assuming the trade goes through, is running back. And to flip it to the offensive side from your defensive talk, one of my takeaways from this game is Jeff Wilson Jr. can't be cut.
I agree.
He is better than Guerendo right now.
Yes, I tweeted that.
And I think he is 100% somebody you need to keep as the 4th running back, because the thing is like, his vision is perfect. He makes the right cut every time. He's not spectacular. He doesn't have crazy quickness. He doesn't have elusiveness. He doesn't have great top end speed, but he will take what the offensive line creates for him. And as a 4th stringer, that's all you can ask for. You don't want a 4th stringer that's going to go out there and just go, I'm going to run, and if the hole's not there, or I'll try to plow my way for 2 yards. You want somebody like he makes the cut. Like, there are many times where he's making the cutback, and we've seen that in each of the last 2 preseason games where he's making the cutback or he's waiting for the hole to develop, and he's just making the right read every time. And that's all you can ask for. He was better than Patrick Taylor. He was better than Kiner, although we didn't get to see much of him. But to me, like, he has to make this team.
You're not wrong, Levin. In fact, you're right. I said the same. He's better than Isaac Guerendo. I'm sorry, he is. Just because Guerendo is faster doesn't mean he's automatically better. You watch those two guys. When Jeff Wilson gets the ball, he is pressing the line of scrimmage, and he just looks ready to attack, ready to hit the hole hard and pick up what is there. Isaac Guerendo still looks like he doesn't know where to go. If he gets hit at all, he goes down. Like, I am sorry, though, you can't have one good run out of 10. I know his yards per carry is high. That's because he breaks off like one huge run, and the rest of the time he does nothing. I completely agree with you. Jeff Wilson is better than Isaac Guerendo. He's got to be the backup to Christian McCaffrey. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and assuming Brian Robinson comes, Brian Robinson will probably become the true backup because he's a pretty good running back. But there were multiple runs in this game that I would love to see the sky view of it, because there were multiple runs where Guerendo was trying to make it to the outside, and he had enough time on the backfield to pick his hole. Like he's just biding his time. And it's like there had to have been a cutback. There had to have been somewhere that he could have found a hole and hit it, and instead he just kept biding his time, and by the time he chose something, there wasn't really anything there, and it was a no gain. And it's like, if you get that ball going all the way to the outside and you don't have somebody in your face that's forcing you to try to bounce outside immediately, at full sprint, there's got to be some kind of cutback to get 2 to 3 yards, and he was getting no gains on him.
I've never been a Guerendo fan. I was super excited to see what he could do when he came out of the draft, but since I have seen him on an NFL field against NFL defenses, I'm sorry, I just have never been one of those guys. I know a lot of people liked him. Jeff Wilson to me is the safer choice. Jeff Wilson, he knows what he's doing out there, and in a backup guy, that's what you want. And Brian Robinson, he's going to take a little time to adjust when he's not even officially on the team. They haven't officially done that deal because they would have had to cut some. It would have been a whole thing, but they are going to do it. Maybe he'll be the short yardage guy, the goal line guy. Maybe not the goal line guy because McCaffrey, but maybe some short yardage stuff. We'll see. And the fact that Isaac Guerendo was in there, look, he got hurt again today on a punt return, and he came back out on that field because Isaac Guerendo knows. As soon as they made that deal for Robinson, Isaac Guerendo knew, I can't come off the field again. The only shot I got is to stay out here, and he did, to his credit. Now, he wasn't super effective, 13 yards on 8 carries in the game, although nobody was effective for the 49ers. They ran for a grand total of 2.6 yards per carry on the night. But Guerendo knows he's on the tightrope right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's just one of many players we saw in this game that was, well, I don't know why I'm watching this guy because they don't really have NFL talent. And I thought that right away because I texted you saying, well, we can start the instant reaction right now because there's no NFL talent on the field. And that was like 5 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it was 5 minutes in. Levin was ready to start the show. He was like, I've seen all I need to see.
I mean, all I saw on both sides of the ball was a whole bunch of guys that weren't going to perform. Now, a couple of guys flashed later in the game, like Nick Martin and stuff. But when the first guys that they put out there, which I think in this last preseason game, for the most part, the guys that are going out first are either second or third stringers. And all of them looked garbage. And it was like, okay, cut them all. Like, if there's somebody that gets cut by another team that intrigued you, whether it's, prior to this year's draft because it's a rookie or 2 years ago, go get him because you're not losing anything by cutting a large majority of the backups on those teams.
Well, you said it on Wednesday last week. The Niners basically have to, I don't want to say dumpster divers. That's the phrase that popped into my head, but you have to be very aware of who has been cut around the league and who's going to become available on Tuesday, because there are certainly opportunities there. Just going back to your text about start the show. Here's the first quarter drive summary. Punt, 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 punt. That's not an exaggeration. Every drive ended in a punt in the first quarter, and only 2 drives went more than 3 plays, and they both belonged to the Chargers. The 49ers had less than 90 total yards of offense in the third quarter of this game and scored 30 points somehow.
Yeah. When the drive summary for both teams sounds like a car engine running horribly, real weakly, it's a really bad game to watch. I mean, this was not a game. Like, there wasn't I'll throw it back to, like, there wasn't a Nate Davis in this game where, like, he got in the game and you're like, ooh, this is exciting. It was even the backup quarterbacks was like Taylor Heineke, you know what he is. Trey Lance, you knew what he is.
Yep.
And then all the, the two backups for the Niners that played, and the third stringer, or I guess fourth stringer for the Chargers that played a majority of the second half. It was all like, these guys aren't capable of doing anything exciting anyways. So like there's no hope here.
Joe, thank you very much for the super chat. Terique Owens touchdown just feels right. Bang, bang. I thought that was kind of funny because I felt like at that point, because both quarterbacks for the 49ers were hurt in this game, because of course they were. I thought the Niners at that point were literally just trying to run the ball and get the hell out of Dodge. But they decided to actually call a pass in that situation. Terique Owens makes the catch for the touchdown. Cool moment. Son of Terrell Owens at Levi's Stadium. Cool. Great moment for the preseason. Now enjoy the practice squad, Terique Owens.
Yeah. He's not his father, which only maybe one or two wide receivers in league history have been as good as his father. But it was a game that was as boring of a preseason game as you can get. There are a few guys that flash, and that's about all you can take. Now, I will say one thing we haven't talked about is I think they wasted a draft pick in Sky Moore because I wouldn't keep him.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't been there very long, but
he messed up a block. It's like, if you're going to be at the very bottom of the wide receiver list, you better at least be able to run block.
Well, but he's going to stick around because he's going to do the returning duties. And Junior Bergen, the only shred of a chance that he had to make the roster was maybe if he flashed on some returns tonight. First of all, the Chargers punter was ridiculous, just bombing kicks that was preventing returns. And then Junior Bergen just completely muffed one and set the Chargers up, deep in 49ers territory. It was like, well, that's the last shred of hope for you. I think Sky Moore is going to be your punt returner.
What is it about guys that are like dominant returners in college not being able to then do it in the pros? Remember Dante Pettis? He had like 4 or 5 touchdowns, punt return touchdowns in college, and it was like, well, if nothing else, he's going to finally solve our return issues that we've had since 2011, and he couldn't even do that. He was a terrible punt returner. Same with this other guy. Like he set the record for most return touchdowns, I think, in college football history is what they were showing. Like he had 9 of them. And yet, like, how? Where? I don't see like crazy elusiveness. I don't see great vision. I don't see like super quickness. Like, and then he muffed a punt on top of it. Like, how?
Sam Mateo says, at least he didn't take it off the face like Grim on the Chargers. Yeah, there were 3 muffed punts in the game. Yeah. And I get it. Like they were saying, oh, it's windy. The wind was swirling. Yeah, great. Okay. Just like I don't want to hear that crap for Jake Moody. Oh, he missed the extra point. Oh, it's really windy. Oh, sorry, because kickers never have to deal with wind. I got to say, Levin, the Moody thing, first of all, his family was there. Our friend Benjamin was texting me because he was at the game. And they showed his family on the Jumbotron and they had signs and everything. And they got horribly booed by the crowd. And after he missed that extra point, every time he stepped on the field, he was loudly booed in front of his own fans.
Okay. Whoever was doing the directing of that game for the in-game screens should have known better. Like, what do you think they're going to do when you show Jake Moody's family? Like, don't show. And these are things that are conversations. Like, I was an intern with the Pacers. There was conversations of like, if this player is super unpopular or something, their family's there, don't show them because you don't want their family to be dragged into getting booed. You know what I mean? Nobody wants that. Like, what do you think his family feels with, having that happen to them? Things like that. They should have known better. But absolutely, you can't have a kicker that every single week has one shank.
Like, you can't screw up a kick every week and keep your job. I'm sorry. And he missed the extra point and he kicked the ball out of bounds. You literally have no idea where the ball is going to go when it leaves his foot. And somebody messaged me on YouTube or left a comment on YouTube last week and said, when Jake Moody's about to kick, I feel exactly the same way I do when Jimmy Garoppolo hits his top foot in the pocket. Like, you literally have no idea what's going to happen. he's just not reliable. I'm sorry. He's got to go. And he has done nothing to earn this undying loyalty from the 49ers. Absolutely nothing. It's just too unpredictable with him. And I'm interested to see what Kyle says tonight. After last week, Kyle said, "Oh, he kicked his ass off." Yeah, what did he do tonight?
It is a position that cannot fail 25% of the time. You can't have 1 out of 4 kicks be a mistake. It is a position that 9 out of 10 times you got to do the right thing. That's what the position. That's the bar of competence. Like you got to be at least 8.5 out of 10, or I guess you could say 17 out of 20. Like 85% is, if you're below 85%, you should be probably getting cut. If you're over it, you can stick around. And he's down in the 70s. He was 77% last year. And so far this preseason, is it 2 field goals and 2 extra points, or is it, I can't remember does he have 3 or 4 misses?
He has too damn many misses. Okay. It's just at this point, kicker update. Jake Moody still sucks. That's it. That's the update. How many times does he have to show it to us? And Tim Kawakami has talked about this. Well, Kyle Shanahan doesn't want it. They just don't want to get into that, kicker sort of shuffle where you're bringing guys in and out every week. It's like, well, tough. You have to. So you'd rather just have a bad kicker? That doesn't make any sense. You may not want to do it, but this is what the situation requires. So go. Call Greg Joseph. Just swap him right out. What are you scared of losing if you cut Jake Moody? What are you scared of losing?
You might be scared of Chase McLaughlin happening again, because he's a top 10 kicker in the league now.
Great.
I know. I will say Chase, I never would have thought was going to be a top 10 kicker when we had him, because he was kind of shaky too when we had him. I know he ended up making his kicks, but they were kind of they didn't look like great kicks, and he didn't have much distance, but he's blossomed. But that's just all the more reason of go kick the tires on another guy, because it took Chase, I think he's on his 4th team now, to finally stick and blossom into a top 10 kicker.
Just whatever it is, man. Whatever it is, go get another one. You're find guys off the friggin' street. They're out there. I swear,
I'm lacing up. I am in San Francisco tomorrow, taking the red eye.
There you go. You know what? At this point, I'd give you a shot. That's where I am right now. I think Kyle Shanahan is going to speak soon. People are sorry. I'm just looking at my Twitter mentions really quickly. People do not get sarcasm on Twitter. I put a tweet out there after Trey Lance left the game with his box score saying, Jim Harbaugh is such a quarterback whisperer. Look how he fixed Trey Lance. Shame on Kyle Shanahan. People think I'm being serious. No, I'm reacting to the ridiculous takes people had because Trey Lance had a couple good passes in the first preseason game. Oh, he fixed Trey Lance. Trey Lance just needed a coach that believed in him, and Jim Harbaugh believes in his players, and look how good. He's looked like the exact same quarterback he's always been to me, 11.
Yeah, he looks worse, honestly. You don't even see the flashes anymore. But just in, there's dumb people on social media.
I'm figuring this out. I just thought it was hilarious. And I don't know how many people were out. I know Grant wrote an article about that and was talking about it. He wasn't the only one. I'm not singling him out. There were more people. I saw the tweets. I saw the segments on ESPN radio. Did we give up too soon on Trey Lance? It's well, one, I think we did, but also it's a one preseason game. Holy crap, calm down.
You know darn well the biggest person cheering for Trey Lance and rooting for him to dominate this game was Grant Cohn, because he knew that would be an amazing post-game press conference and content all week.
It would have been. Imagine the takes that would have flowed in.
Mm-hmm.
Had Trey Lance been able to put it together, but alas, he was not able to put it together. And that's all the time I want to spend talking about that. But Jim Harbaugh gets credit as a quarterback whisperer, and I do not understand it. He has never had a quarterback even make the Pro Bowl, and everybody makes the Pro Bowl. And he's never had a quarterback make the Pro Bowl, but somehow he's a quarterback whisperer because he had Andrew Luck and because Alex Smith looked slightly better than he did before he got there. But even though Alex Smith was never really that good with the 49ers.
I mean, yeah, I mean, most of that reputation comes from Alex Smith. I mean, we can be honest about Andrew Luck, Harbaugh, and pretty much anybody else other than Andrew Luck's parents, because of the genes they gave him, and Andrew Luck himself had anything to do with how good Andrew Luck was.
Right. I could have coached Andrew Luck and he would have been just as good at Stanford.
Exactly.
So that just always bugs me. But I'm getting the takes off my chest. The Harbaugh takes and the Trey Lance takes finally had to come. I've been
Can I say Harbaugh is calmer?
Yeah,
I
well,
didn't see him flipping out once. I know it's preseason, but he used to do that even in preseason.
Did you see the shot of him and Willis and I forget who Frank Gore, like before the game, and they were just talking, and it was like, man, would have been so nice if we could have gotten those guys a ring.
You had to go there, huh?
I'm just they were on the field. Was I not supposed to mention it? Was I not supposed to think about it? They were reuniting.
That's the uncrowned champions in my heart, because they're champions in my heart. Damn it,
champions in my heart. Maybe. Oh, yeah, that's what we're reduced to, sadly. But anyway, let's talk more about.
I'm still mad that I was robbed of the twilight of Patrick Willis's career.
Well, yeah, I mean, God, Patrick. And then they showed Bowman. Did you see Navarro Bowman on the sideline because he's a coach now for the Chargers? Whoa, holy arms, Batman! Like Guy Haberman was like, "Are you sure he doesn't have a couple snaps left?" And Tim Ryan said something like, "Well, he's certainly got some arms left."
Yeah. Bowman is still in very good shape.
You know the kind of effort it takes to maintain that. Some of these guys are absolutely incredible.
I sure do, being on the precipice of 40 years old and fat. I know exactly how much energy it maintains. Not everybody's lucky like you and just never puts on weight.
Yeah, I highly recommend it.
Although it goes both ways, because you didn't really get to play sports because you couldn't put on any weight.
I played golf. Leave me alone. I did just fine. If anyone in the chat sees what Kyle Shanahan is saying, let me know. Apparently, he talked about Brian Robinson. He said we brought him here to be our two back. So I'm assuming by two back he means backup running back. So that kind of settles that. Jacob Cowing could miss 6 weeks with a hamstring injury. I'm done fighting for you, Jacob. Sorry, man. You got to go. Like, I can't wait anymore. I'm sorry. You can't play on the field. You can't even come back for one practice.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Robbie Chosen has shown enough that I would play him over Cowing.
Chosen had a snag tonight on one of the few good balls thrown by Carter Bradley. He had a snag over the middle. I think it's going to be Pearsall. I don't know about Jauan Jennings week 1. He had a post on his Instagram today about, let's just say it seemed extremely cranky. I'll just say that. I don't know if it was about football, but I'm assuming it was. But who knows if he's going to be there week 1. If it's going to be Pearsall and it's not going to be Demarcus Robinson, it's going to be Robbie Chosen.
Did anybody check the medical tables during the game to see if Jennings was on one?
Right, like Micah Parsons was for the Cowboys game yesterday.
I do not think Michael Parsons is going to show up week 1.
I wouldn't be shocked. I don't care either way. But yeah, that's not a good look for the Dallas Cowboys. This just in. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. I will say, I was 100% on Parsons, like Jones is being stupid, pay the man. And then Jones said what he said. I think it was just yesterday. And I was like, well, if that is true, I don't know quite why Parsons is not signed yet.
Here, I'm trying to pull up the Jauan Jennings thing. You effed around with the wrong dude. Hope your next N-word be great. Now, I don't know if I assume it has to do with football. Maybe his agent tried to go to the Niners one last time before the season essentially gets underway in earnest and was like, hey, let's work something out. Maybe the Niners said flat out, no, we already did that. And that was Jauan Jennings' response.
Yeah. This one is one that I doubt was about football. The word you're not willing to say, neither am I, because I don't need to walk that tightrope, is just makes me think this isn't football. Like if he's talking football, he's not going there.
I have no idea, but I know he's a football player. I know now would be
And
the
for the
time.
podcast, no, it did not have the ER. It has the A on it. We're not going there.
Yeah, no, us, the two
Yeah.
milk toast
No,
podcasts. I don't think so.
don't need to go there. But like to me, it's just the tone is a little off for it to be football related.
He's a football player first and foremost. Now would be the time when maybe they would make a push for one last contract. And now would be the time where the 49ers might tell him, sorry, no, to prompt such a response. I have no idea. There's no way to know for sure. But that could be a little mini saga with the 49ers. We'll see ultimately if Jauan Jennings gets back out on the field. Kyle Shanahan just spoke about this apparently. Quote, I expect him to be back. He should be back from it, but you never know with a calf. I don't, yeah. At this point, I think it's definitely 50-50.
Yeah, it's a weird one. You would think Jennings would be more vocal in the media if he was truly planning on doing something. You know what I mean? Like you've already kind of let it slip out that he wants a contract and he's kind of doing a hold in type thing, but he was practicing before getting hurt and all that. But if he was truly like trying to make a push to get a deal, you would think he would be basically coming right out and saying it.
I don't buy this whole, okay, you never know with a calf. You never know with a calf. Like, not every calf injury is an Achilles. Sometimes a calf injury is just a calf injury. You know, we don't have to act like this is like one devastating play away from the end of Jauan. Like, I'm not buying it. I think it's more of a contract thing than a calf thing. We'll see. I expect him to be back. Doesn't mean he will be back. All that means is maybe they'll go after some of his money if he's not back. You know, because Kyle did say the test came back clean. So they have that evidence of, you know, you say you hurt. We don't have any evidence of that. Just like we were talking Micah Parsons, he got an MRI and the MRI came back clean. I think Dallas may be preparing for the same thing.
Yeah, well, they said pretty clean in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're either clean or you're not. The word pretty there piqued my interest.
Mm-hmm. A couple more injury updates from Kyle Shanahan now. He thinks Mykal Williams and Upton Stout will return to practice this week, but it'll depend how they come in on Monday. And unfortunate news, Jacob Robinson, the defensive back, sustained a broken forearm towards the end of the game. He was putting together a decent camp, but that's obviously not good news.
No, it's not good. I don't think he was probably going to make the roster. That they seem to be pretty deep at cornerback, but
yeah, they kind of do.
It's unfortunate that it means that he doesn't get the opportunity to try to make it somewhere else now.
I don't know how long, what the recovery is. It maybe depends on what kind of a break and all that stuff. If it's just a month, if it's like a 4-week thing, okay, you know, then maybe he can be back and catch on somewhere. We'll see. Lazy Barry, thank you for the super chat, says God delays but does not deny. This is the year. The year for what is this, like a Super Bowl post? I'm not sure what this is the year for.
Yeah. There's quite a few teams that could be saying that.
Right. Well, it's been
Minnesota, Buffalo.
It's been 30 years since the 49ers have had one. So if God wants to stop the delaying, you know, we certainly all appreciate it. I'll say that.
It's crazy that it's been that long.
Sadly, and we've had a lot of pain along the way. Here's Kyle Shanahan's official quote on the Brian Robinson trade. Brought him here to be our number 2 back. Sorry, Isaac Guerendo. Sorry, Jordan James. Sorry, anyone else already on the roster.
Oh, that's the quote?
Yeah. Loved him coming out of college. We were pumped he was available, and we're pumped we were able to get him. So he's going to walk in the door and be the number 2 back. That does not say much for every other running back on the roster that isn't Christian McCaffrey.
No. I mean, Brian Robinson he's kind of like the Jennings of running backs. He gets 700 to 800 yards or 700 to 900 yards every season. He's good. He's just not quite good enough that you truly want him to be like a focal point of your offense.
Look, we know how Kyle's going to play this. The backup running back, whoever it is, if Christian McCaffrey is healthy, is going to get like one snap a game because we know he's going to ride 23 till the wheels fall
He
off.
should not do that.
He
should
should
learn
not.
his lesson. Hey, we gave Christian McCaffrey a massive workload, and then he fell apart.
Well, I agree with you, but do you expect a big difference in the running back, like the carry distribution this year?
I think there'll be a difference. I think that it won't be crazy significant. It's not going to be no split carry or anything, but there'll be a difference in terms of Christian McCaffrey will actually sit out some plays. And I think that they will do that until towards the end of the season or until they're desperate because of record. And then McCaffrey's not coming out. Like if they get to the playoffs, McCaffrey's not coming out for single play. But I do think that they'll take like obvious situations like, all right, it's first. We just got a first down. We're moving the ball. It's 1st and 10 from our own 40. We'll put Robinson in and give him a carry. You know what I mean? Like those type of scenarios where you're in the middle of the field. You've already you're not taking Christian McCaffrey off the field to start a drive. You're taking him off right after a first down when you got some momentum and you're still in the middle of the field. You're not approaching red zone or anything like that.
Kicker update. Shanahan on Jake Moody, quote, "We'll see how it goes during the year." Why would you expect it to go any differently, right? Like if you have a car with no brakes and bald tires, why are you going to wait until you get into a car accident before you take it into the shop or get a new car? Like you have to wait for him to be bad again before you make a move. You know what's going to happen.
Yeah, we're kind of past that point. They had bald tires. They spun out in the rain and damaged their vehicle, got their vehicle fixed and said, I'm not changing the tires. I'm going to keep driving until I spin out and wreck again. And then maybe I'll take a hit.
I don't know why you need to see it one more time. Oh, now we have to make a move. Like, do we think that Jake Moody is suddenly going to go on like a 15 kick streak where he doesn't miss? No, like this is who he is. That's wild to me that this is their attitude. I like this comment from Godra says Moody might be the player to get Kyle fired. What if it came down to
that? I doubt that, but I want to jump us off football topic because it is something that drives me nuts living in Pennsylvania now. I'm guessing Californians for sure can relate because I would imagine California does something similar. Do you have inspections on vehicles in Connecticut?
We have emissions that we have to do every year, which is basically just give the government $20.
Just emissions?
Yeah.
So we have that, but we also have a full-on inspection. If your brake pads are too low, they must be replaced or they will not pass it and you'll have to take your vehicle and drive illegally. If your tires, and that's what got me on this topic, are bald enough, there's a certain depth, I forget exactly what it is, it's like 3/24 or something like that. They literally, you will send it in, you will spend the like $70-$80 to get the inspection, and if the tires are too low and you don't get them replaced immediately, I'm talking before it leaves the dealership, so you have to buy from the dealership, or not the mechanic, you can take it, there's all kinds of places around here that have inspections, then they cannot pass it and you'll have to spend that money a second time once you do go get tires. It drives me up a wall. Indiana did not have inspections growing up. Now, Ohio, which is very close to where I live, doesn't have inspections, and I do see the difference. There are a lot of junkers that have Ohio plates that I see around from time to time, and because they will not pass it. Like if you have too much rust, PA will not pass you. It's the car must be replaced. You cannot get a passing. Like a lot of things like that drives me nuts on the tires and things like that. It's like I'll do the maintenance when I'm ready to do my own maintenance. Thank you very much.
Come for the 49er talk, stay for the vehicle inspection.
I'm just saying, like, I'm guessing Californians can relate. 'Cause I would imagine California has pretty major restrictions on your vehicles. I mean, they were the first ones to demand or force vehicles to have the PVE or whatever, PSVE. I hate that. Where your vehicle turns itself off when you come to a stop. You're welcome. I am driving.
Get off of car talk, please.
No!
I'm begging you. I'm begging you. This is a 49ers show. I don't want to talk about cars anymore. Please.
You could have tied that back in and been like, speaking of a car that's not going to go, and like named a guy that's going to get cut.
Jake Moody will get cut after he misses a kick in Seattle that causes us to lose the game, as Vish Bell has commented.
Jake Moody is a Pinto of a car. It is flawed fundamentally.
Yes. I'm seeing people online reacting to the news about Jacob Cowing missing at least 6 weeks and saying, well, they could, return him from IR. They could use one of their designated spots where you can pull somebody off IR so they don't miss the season. Why would you waste one of those spots on Jacob Cowing at this point, Levin? I wouldn't. We know those spots are valuable for the 49ers. They ran out of them a couple years ago, or was it last year? I wouldn't waste it on Cowing.
No. I wouldn't waste it on Cowing unless, you get a couple more injuries. But I also think the wide receiver is one of the positions in the NFL that there's usable parts out there in free agency. Yep. Like, it's not like offensive line and others where it's like, if they're a free agent, they probably couldn't block, you couldn't block me. You know what I mean? Like, it is a position that it's like running back. You can find somebody that's serviceable that is available.
Can I say something else about this game?
You got to talk about cars.
Our knowledge. I feel like this is the second straight week where the defense has kept the 49ers in the game. And I get that it's a preseason game and it doesn't count and matter, but like, I'm so confident and encouraged with what Robert Saleh has shown, even in this game, right? Chargers get the ball, they punt it away, Niners fumble the punt, the defense holds them to a field goal. The defense kept the Niners in this game. They turn it over on downs because the Niners quarterback, Mordecai, is hurt and he can't really move to get the handoff on a short yardage play. They turn the ball over on downs. Niners defense gets an interception. Robert Saleh, even with the backups to the backups, is doing things schematically that's getting pressure on quarterbacks, that's shoring up the run defense. And I got to tell you, I'm super encouraged by that.
Yeah, I mean, I do like what I've seen. I hope it carries over to the regular season, but early returns are, hey, that's what a defensive coordinator looks like. We had forgotten since D'Amico left.
Right. Like, you can, even if you don't have the players, and again, it was backups and third stringers, I get that, but the things that he's doing with the scheme, when you do that with the 49ers, good players are going to be even more effective. I'm loving it. I got so used to the vanilla slop that we saw last year with Nick Sorensen. Like, now when Saleh calls a blitz, they don't always get the sack, but they get pressure. I feel like the few times when Sorensen would call a blitz last year, it would never get home. But when Saleh, they get home, at least they affect the play.
Yeah, and you saw some stunts and stuff, and you saw some faking the blitz and then dropping back into coverage to keep the defense guessing. But I think a lot of it has to do with just the fundamental way in which they have the DBs play. The DBs are physical off the line of scrimmage. And I think what that does, one, it disrupts timing. Two, when you're physical with them off the line of scrimmage, you tend to stick to them. Now, you could get burned a little bit easier. There's a little bit more of a probability that you just get toasted. But I think their philosophy is if we try to rough them up off the line of scrimmage within those 5 yards, it will disrupt their timing and it will buy enough time for the defense to get home, the front to get home and affect the quarterbacks. Then, get a hurry where accuracy might not be as good, things like that. Because you see it. Especially 2 years ago, the Niners played a lot more off coverage. And I think that was just a case of the front seven not matching with the coverage. And we heard players say that too. Like, it was just the coverage did them no favors because they were playing off a good bit. But when they're up and they're pressing and they're physical, I think that is the Saleh signature on defense more than anything else, is that the DBs are going to be physical. And I think that works. That pairs well with what the Niners want to do up front, which is get pressure. They're not a defensive line that just does a lot of tricks. You know what I mean? Like they just go, we have good guys up front. We invest there more than anywhere else. They're going to beat you after 3 seconds.
That doesn't mean you can't do both. Like, you can have those guys and still do the games up front, right? That's allowed. That's what I want to see. And we'll hopefully get the chance to see Micah Williams, CJ West, and Alfred Collins and all those guys together, along with Bosa and Bryce Huff and all that stuff.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice to see our first round pick?
Yeah. Or wouldn't it be nice if like 7 of the 11 guys that we drafted weren't injured, which is crazy to say out loud. Blood Moon says, Rob, people got to remember Kyle is not calling plays. No, I'm aware, but we also can't deny that the non-Brock Purdy quarterback play this preseason has been pretty bad. And it was bad for most of tonight, to be honest with you. Really bad. And I mean, now look, both guys are hurt, so I don't know what the status of those guys are going to be. But before that happened, like, there was no way that Carter Bradley should have been quarterback 3 on this team. No way. Tanner Mordecai has looked better than him by leaps and bounds.
Mordecai has flashes where you're like, oh, that looks almost like a starter. You know what I mean? Like he has plays where like you see him execute and his footwork, you know, he just moves in the way that you expect to see, that you're used to seeing. Passes the eye test, I guess would be the way for like the non-super quarterback experts. Just watching him move, sometimes he looks like he looks like he's supposed to look. That's not the case with the other backups. Now, I will say Bradley has a decent arm, but
yes, he does.
That doesn't do a whole lot for you if everything else is not there.
Just having a strong arm doesn't automatically make you a good quarterback. And the 49ers should know this better than anybody, considering who their starting quarterback is. So we'll see what eventually shakes out. And it's interesting now, Levin, because you've got Brock, obviously. Stay healthy, please, for the love of God. Mac Jones is hurt. Mordecai is hurt. Carter Bradley is hurt. Please let nothing happen to Brock Purdy in week 1 of the season, because who the hell is coming in? They got no healthy quarterbacks after him.
Yeah, it would be potentially either going trade market or going, hey, you want to unretire market.
CJ Beathard, what do you got going on? I'm saying, like,
doesn't Anthony Richardson just scream a Kyle Shanahan quarterback?
Even in the, like, I'm just saying, like, even if it's only for a couple of plays, right?
Yeah.
Brock Purdy goes out and it's like, damn, what the hell are you gonna do?
It's Christian McCaffrey. I mean, this team is as experienced as anyone in this exact scenario.
Yeah, put a call out. Astro says, call up Josh Johnson again.
Sure.
I think he's actually on a roster, isn't he? Right now?
I don't know. I think I know he was last year, but I don't, because he actually, I think, started a game last year.
I thought he signed on somewhere, to his credit, which good for him, man. Get that money. But I don't know.
He's the all-time. Chase Daniel is kind of the all-time backup. You know what I mean? Never really got a start, but he stuck around for a long time and got paid good money because he had a couple like medium tier contracts as a backup. Josh Johnson is the all-time third stringer quarterback. He's stuck around forever, had a very long career, and has never even been the backup normally going into the season. He's been third string.
Sorry, I just saw this full quote from Kyle Shanahan on Jake Moody. Quote, I thought he had one of the best games I've ever seen a guy have last week. I know he missed an extra point today, which definitely doesn't make us happy, but we'll see how it goes in the year. He's a talented kicker. No, he's not. Like, why do they keep saying that about him? If he's so talented, why does he miss so goddamn often? Where is this talent that we keep hearing about? Because I have never seen it.
Yeah, he said he thinks he had a really good offseason and a really good preseason. He's missed 3 kicks and kicked a kickoff out of bounds in 3 games. 3 games.
I don't know. What preseason are you watching, Kyle Shanahan? He's done some really good things for us. He has? When? The 59-yarder game winner in the preseason? That is your fastball there with Jake Moody? He made some big kicks in the Super Bowl, to be fair, but he also missed an extra point in that game. There's no like complete game from Jake Moody, unless all his kicks are from like 30 yards and in. I'm sorry. Like, this is just not living in reality. It's not. Like, does Kyle Shanahan not know the games are on TV? We can see this stuff. We can watch what happens. Just, I would respect it so much more if he just said, you know what? We're going with Moody because I always wanted to go with Moody, and I don't feel like getting another kicker in here. Just say it, man. Don't insult our intelligence with this garbage. He's done some really good things for us. What was so great about the game that he had last week? He missed a kick in that game, too. You're calling it one of the greatest games ever? Like, what?
Yeah, it was a 43-yarder, too, if memory serves. But Moody, so I had a friend of mine who's actually a sports journalist. He said this in college about a quarterback, and it's always stuck with me because it's kind of humorous, and it was 100% true. And once he said it, the more you watch that guy play, the more you saw that it was true. And Moody, I think, is the kicking version of that guy. And ironically, they're both Michigan people. But when we were in college, Chad Henne was in college for Michigan, and I grew up in Notre Dame area and Purdue and IU area, so lots of Michigan games. But he said Chad Henne is that quarterback that does everything you could want, but he's going to have that one play every game that you have no freaking clue what he was doing, and it's a turnover. And like you watched him, and that's exactly what he did. He would go out and he would have like 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Like every game he would have that one interception. He would have that one play where it's just like, I have no idea where that came from because the whole rest of the thing doesn't look. Jake Moody is like that. He can hit really long field goals. He looks great in practice. He looks great on a lot of his kicks. And then there's that one kick, at least one kick every game where you're like, what the heck was that?
I just don't. I don't know if there were follow-ups in the press conference, and hopefully there were. But
probably not of the third preseason. They probably didn't allow it.
There needs to be pushback. I'm sorry. He was 84% on his kicks his rookie year. He was 70% on his kicks last year. He missed 10 kicks. Why? Where is this talent, right? Brandon Aubrey hits from 68 yards or whatever it was yesterday. Jake Moody, in one of the best games that Kyle Shanahan has ever seen from a kicker, almost missed a 26-yard kick. He barely made it. If it was 27 yards, he would have missed it. Like, this is delusion, and it is going to cost the 49ers wins this year. They don't have a team that's so much more talented than everybody else that they could sustain those screw-ups. These games are going to come down to field goals and special teams play, punts and kickoffs, and not kicking the ball out of bounds on a kickoff. That's the margins the 49ers are going to have to live in this year. And that them just putting their head down and putting their head under their pillow doesn't make the monster go away. This is insane. It is asinine.
There's an easy way to embarrass Kyle when it comes to this, to make him contradict himself. You don't mention Moody. You just straight ask, in your opinion, a kicker who misses one kick a game, is that acceptable?
Right.
Because obviously he has to answer that. No, that's not acceptable, because it's not acceptable. But that's exactly what Moody is doing. So it shows the double standard, and it puts it out there without going there, without saying, hey, Moody's play isn't up to snuff. He misses a kick every game. Like, it's not you giving an opinion. It's forcing Kyle to answer a question that there's a very obvious answer to, that by answering that, he is saying Moody's not good enough.
And not only that, but how this team loves to talk about the standard, the standard, the standard. Is this the standard? You can't sit there and have Fred Warner talking about the standard and we got to uphold this and we have this great culture and all that stuff and we hold ourselves to these high expectations and then have a kicker that screws up a kick every single week. Both of those things can't be true. He's not the guy. Jake Moody is not the guy you make the exception for, right? If it was the kind of thing where, hey, Jake Moody might kick a ball out of bounds, but he's also making 70-yarders routinely all the time, okay, maybe you can live with that. He ain't that guy, pal. He's not that guy.
Yeah, it's run its course. Moody could get released, figure things out, and go be a phenomenal kicker for somebody else. That happens a lot with kickers. Like, you look at a lot of the kickers in the NFL, I would say a full like third of them are blossomed after they were on another team first. Like they became a truly
Right.
reliable kicker after they were on another team first. That could happen. The problem is kicking is very much like golf. It is 95% mental. And without getting forced to face reality that you have not been good enough and dig deep, they're not going to change. It's like a golfer having a terrible round trying to fix it mid-round. It just doesn't happen very often.
There's an old line in politics about how elections are won and lost on 1 square foot of real estate, and it's the space between your ears. A lot of kicks are made and missed based on 1 square foot of real estate. And Jake Moody just doesn't have the mental game right now to compensate. If he misses a kick to the left, guaranteed the next kick is going to miss to the right. Or if it doesn't miss, it's going to go fade right and go way, right shave in that upright. Like he just mentally, it is not there. And it doesn't even matter if you cut Jake Moody and he goes on to be a good kicker. Because if you get a replacement kicker, that's a regular replacement kicker that we see all the time, you're going to be fine. Like it's just bizarre. And I'm sorry, it is going to cost the 49ers games this year in where they need a lot of things to go their way. Putting this guy out there whose kicks are like a fire hose that no one's holding on to, just waving around, going all over the place. It's irresponsible. It's negligent. It is negligent by Kyle Shanahan, and he should be raked over the coals for it.
I mean, the best kicker in the NFL came from where? What college did Aubrey play for?
I don't know.
Exactly. I don't even know.
I have no clue.
I made this case, I think it was last week, might have been 2 weeks ago. Kicking is the most underappreciated sport by the scouting departments and coaches. There are so many people out there. I guarantee some of the top 10 best kickers in existence right now are not on the football field. They have not gotten a chance to go kick. Aubrey was found from the middle of nowhere as a soccer player who transitioned after that didn't work out for him to being a football kicker. There are a lot of people that could do that and be really, really good. There's a lot of people that will try to do that and also not be really good. But my point is like the best kicker in the NFL didn't even really do it in college. Like, go find those guys. Why is this? This is something like I've made this point before. Having a bad kicker versus having a good kicker is literally the value of that in the NFL is 2 to 3 points per game. There is nowhere else you get that amount of points per game swing off of going and finding somebody off the streets. I do not understand why it is so undervalued. Like it was during Aaron Rodgers' heyday, but they used to try to equate like how many points per game he was worth over the average quarterback. And it was something like 6-7 points. Like you're talking about an MVP level quarterback being worth that, and a kicker is worth you're getting close to half of that. Like it's massively important. Mm-hmm. Why is it ignored?
I don't understand it. It makes no sense whatsoever. And people pointed out Brandon Aubrey was at Notre Dame. So thank you to Brother Bob and somebody else pointed it out too. Always appreciate the chat, keeping us honest. I didn't mean to get as fired up about that as I can, but when people insult our intelligence and just say stuff that is contrary to the reality that we have all seen and heard and watched, there's too much of that going on in the world right now. I can't take it. It gets me from 0 to 60. I cannot tolerate it. Apology, but Kyle Shanahan brings it out of me sometimes. By the way, thank you to everybody. There's almost 800 people watching right now, which is absolutely fantastic. This is the Gold Standard Podcast. We're live every single weekday. We're live immediately after all 49ers games. If this is your first time checking us out, Levin and I do a show every Wednesday. We've got different hosts all week long. I know a lot of people are, getting back into the fold now that the season is underway. Now that we are officially done with the preseason, which, my God, doesn't it feel good to say that out loud? So if you are checking us out for the first time, please give us a shot. Like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. You will come back for more. We will earn your time. I promise you. Just don't listen too much to what Levin says.
There's the reason why I'm on one day a week. If I was on the whole week, everybody would think, God, football must be the worst sport ever. There's nothing positive ever about that sport.
We say positive things about the 49ers. Here's the thing. Look, there are some channels out there that only say negative things about the 49ers. There are some channels out there that only say positive things about the 49ers. What I have always maintained is that when they are good, I say they are good. And when they are bad, I say they are bad. To me, that's the job. And that's what we do on this channel.
And I just cut through the bullshit. And that tends to make people think that I'm negative.
You just wanted to swear, so I would have to bleep it out, didn't you?
I mean, it felt valuable in the moment.
That's going to do it for this edition of the show. Thank you again, everybody, for watching. Really appreciate it. Sorry I missed the instant reaction last week. That was a very extenuating set of circumstances.
Good news is baseball is starting to slow down and come to an end, especially for the Mets, so it shouldn't happen again.
And the Mariners, who I'm a fan of, who lost again today. Congratulations. But anyway, thank you again, everybody. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel. Levin, thank you for joining us, and we will talk on Monday.